This is a delicious carton of chocolate milk, great for an energy and protein boost. And this is a nice kombucha drink with great health benefits. This one is preferred by rugged working class Australians, tradies, farmers, people who live on the land or in the suburbs, the real people who make the country tick, the engine of Australia. And yes, more men than women do prefer that. And this product is preferred by inner city types, people who have sedentary jobs and don't want too much sugar in their diets and who don't need as much protein as dairy provides. They're hardworking too, but they have to spend most of their day using their brains while sitting at laptops. They're knowledge workers and they want good gut health to keep their brains working. And yes, more women than men will go for the kombucha. Both of these products are good products. They are marketed to their respective customers and they sell well. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the is Damian on about here? This is surely not some lame sponsorship ad. And you'd be right. These two drinks represent today's Liberal Party, the two dominant groups in the party, each with their own ideas, each able to win and thrive in their own markets, but they are very, very different products. They have some overlap. They're both drinks. They're both delicious to their own target markets. But look what happens when I do this. Cheers. Oh, God. That is just disgusting. Disgusting. Nobody's going to buy that. These two products, ladies and gentlemen, are different and they do not belong in the same glass. They are incompatible. They are not two products in the same category filling some kind of broad church of products. They are just simply not similar enough to be mixed without becoming far less than the sum of their parts, and therefore unmarketable and unsellable. The people who drink chocolate milk are not going to buy this stuff, nor are the people who want a healthy kombucha drink going to buy this stuff. So the market share is plummeting. New chocolate milks have emerged with richer, creamier, sweeter recipes, and people are shifting to them. One nation, family first. New health drinks have emerged with even more benefits and tasting even more delicious to the market. The teals. The only way for these two drinks to survive in the market is to present themselves honestly to the public for what they are. Because if they try to mix it up under one product and one brand, nobody's buying. And the Liberal Party is trying to do exactly that. I'm on many chat groups with a lot of people smarter than me, but two of them in particular have stood out to me this week. One's a group of conservative Australian thinkers with many Liberal Party and ex-Liberal Party members. Another one is of an inner city electorate's Liberal Party campaign team. What I realise is that these people don't just have minor differences. They disagree fundamentally at a deep values level. They are not the same at a very fundamental level, and they cannot coexist and win an election. They are speaking at complete cross purposes. And this is why I say that the Liberal Party in its current form, in my humble opinion, is finished. It needs to become two separate parties. Peter Dutton is a chocolate milk guy, and he was going great with the chocolate milk crowd because the chocolate milk crowd are the people who watch this show. They're largely unrepresented in modern Australian politics, and there are a lot of very smart people who think that if a party would just focus on them, like Reform UK and the Trump Republicans, they'd win it in a landslide. But the kombucha people got nervous. Pete was doing well by Christmas and on track for victory. Then the kombucha people said, mix in a little kombucha, or we're going to lose the election. In a lot of kombucha seats. You're ahead, you're doing well. A little kombucha ain't going to spoil your chocolate milk. Oh yes, it is. Nobody wants to drink this Frankenstein stuff. And that's what happened. The question is, what does the Liberal Party do now? Three men in the studio who don't necessarily all share my strong view on the future of the Liberal Party being totally doomed. Graeme Haycroft, the founder of the alternative non-left-wing professional associations known as the Red Unions, Professor James Allan, University of Queensland Law School, and Dan Ryan, a founder of the National Conservative Institute of Australia. Gentlemen, am I wrong? Dan?
Well, to extend your analogy, I actually think there needs to be a new recipe because it is not the case that Conservatives or the centre-right haven't been able to reach new constituencies across the world. Boris Johnson and Theresa May both famously won deep red wall seats in the UK.
Meaning former Labor.
Former Labor seats. Donald Trump was able to win seats that hadn't voted Republican since the days of Abraham Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
So there needs to be a rethinking of
But that's chocolate milk. They're dry.
No, it's different to the Howard era formula, and the right in Australia really needs to think and look around long and hard at why those things work. It's not even arguing the point strongly and cutting in the public sector or what Dutton was arguing for there. It's rethinking things like trade, immigration, and foreign policy. The Howard era formula that we need 100% manufactured goods coming in from China duty free because supposedly Adam Smith was in favour of that is crazy talk. You will not have a manufacturing industry in Australia again. It won't be good for the people who drink oat chocolate. The idea that over the last 30 years our foreign policy has been a success by invading, in a liberal interventionist way, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, God knows where else. That is not prudent and is about as popular as your combination nation drink. And on immigration, we have got to, like the UK Tories and like the Americans and others, we need to just go to incredibly low numbers, a pause for a couple of years. Australia needs a bit of me time. We have great magic culturally here. We can assimilate people to a certain extent, but we can't do it with the numbers that Anthony Albanese has brought in the last couple of years, and we can't do it by just trimming the edges like was proposed by Peter Dutton.
All right, we're getting a bit off topic. I mean, coming back to the point, which is, can the Liberal Party survive as a unified party when you've got two very different, very distinct groups within that party, Graeme?
Oh, absolutely. The first thing I've got to do is understand the constituencies. Who does the Labor Party represent, and who should the Liberal Party represent? In America and England, the American Republican Party has become the Workers' Party. And Farage's constituency, fundamentally, is the workers.
Yeah.
And in Australia, the checkout chick in Woolies, she voted no.
We're not talking about the checkout chick. With the kombucha, checkout chick in Woolies isn't drinking the kombucha. The person drinking the kombucha is the inner city teal yoga mum, right? So, and dad. So where are they? How are they ever going to mix with this lot?
Well, they're not.
They're not.
But
So that's Susan Lee. She's being proposed as the new leader.
Believe it or not, it's Tim Wilson, the checkout chick. I mean, we don't look. The data is clear around the world. Rich people now vote left.
Yeah.
And if you are aiming for the rich inner city seats, you are not going to win the election. And they have sophisticated data from the last election in the US. And the three biggest issues, all close together, were inflation, immigration, and culture war issues. And you've got half the Liberal Party saying, we don't want to talk about what a woman is. It's crazy. That actually won Trump a whole bunch of districts just by saying we're not having transgenders competing in women's sports. It was a phenomenally important thing to say. Peter Dutton was gifted a perfect opportunity, and he said, well, he just fumbled it around, and he had to go back in focus group to decide about Welcome to Country at Anzac Day.
Yeah.
A guy I want to vote for knows instinctively that no acknowledgement of country at Anzac Day. If you don't know that, Peter, you shouldn't have been leaving.
Well, then how can he say it? How can he stand up to the Sarah Arbos of the world? How can he do anything when he's being told by the kombucha people to shut up? Graeme, the kombucha people have to leave.
They do.
Well, now what you've got to do is you've got to understand the constituency. The constituency who are conservative. The checkout chick in Woolies voted no in the voice referendum. She's conservative. She wants a continuation of the Australian values. That's what conservatism is, not progressive change. So the market...
But I'm not talking about her. She's a chocolate milk drinker. She's not drinking the kombucha. I'm talking about the kombucha people. They've got to leave the party or the party finishes.
These people
how can you put them together?
I think you're both saying the same thing.
No, I'm saying something quite different. This group is actually 10 times bigger than what the Liberal Party thinks it is.
We don't want those people.
Forget about it.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want those people.
But Susan Lee is one of these. So why is she being proposed as the next leader of the party?
It's worse than the accidental unit buyer.
It's half the party.
Half
Half the party room are these people. That's the problem.
Look,
yes, I've seen them. They're on the chat group.
But Damian, one of the additional strands in Trump's election winning formula was, make America healthy again, right? You've got to. So no, but you can reach out to different constituencies that may have not traditionally voted for you if you properly rejig things and rethink things, right? So at the moment, the current formula in inner city seats in Australia, the Howard era formula has meant housing prices have gone through the roof. And what that has meant is you've got You've got two groups that's created. You've got a group which now has post-materialist concerns, teal voters, who their houses go up magic and they don't break a sweat. And then you've got another group of young people who can't get into the housing market, and they think this system's rigged. Let's flip the monopoly board. The Green voters say that, but also people on the right, like Tucker Carlson is not a green nut, and he says, look, if the system is not producing a reasonable prospect for a 23-year-old or 24-year-old to buy a property and start a family, I want to burn the system down. So there needs to be a rejigging of the right.
Explain this. Trump won the under 30 vote, and Poilievre won the under 35 vote. Trump lost the over 65 vote, and Poilievre did very, very badly with old people.
Yep.
And yet in this country, we can't win the young vote because we don't believe in anything. The real problem for this group of people is they don't have any values or views. If we're going to be honest, the worst thing that happened to young people were the 2.5 years of COVID lockdowns brought to you by the Liberal Party.
Sure.
The biggest time, you got the more asset inflation than any time in our history. It was the best time to be a billionaire.
Yep.
And it's very hard for the Liberal Party to say, look, the real problem here is asset inflation brought to you by us because we decided to copy the communist Chinese party approach to locking people down.
These are the things the stories that have to be told. These are the messages that have to be gotten out there. And I can't see how they can be gotten out there when you've got people like this reining it in. Let's just have a look at some of these headlines that we've had from the past week. Peter Credlin wrote in The Australian, things are not as bad as they seem, she says. Howard had a huge winning margin like Albo in his third win in 2004. Everyone said Labor would be out for a decade. Then, of course, Rudd won in 2007 and Howard even lost his seat. But this is different, I think, because we've never seen a Liberal Party with such disparate values trying to hold itself together. Credlin says in her piece that you can't have a shift left or a shift right. I really rarely think she's wrong. I think she's wrong on that one. The party needs both a shift left and a shift right, in my view, and a complete split into two groups. Let's have a look at the moderates and progressives and what they've been saying. Ken Wyatt warns Liberals must change after election loss or risk becoming the lesser party. A former Liberal elder who spectacularly quit the party after leaving federal parliament has lashed his previous colleagues, urging them to wake up and become more inclusive in the wake of another bruising election result. And then we have retiring Senator Linda Reynolds with this headline. Retiring Senator Linda Reynolds criticises Liberal Party after heavy election defeat. Retiring Liberal Senator Linda Reynolds has labelled the party's federal election campaign a comprehensive failure, partly attributable to its lack of effort in increasing female representation. I should point out that this is all ABC News stuff, these articles, okay? But, so it's hardly balanced in any way, shape or form, but it's
Why would you take political advice from people who hate you? I mean, I never understand why anyone cares what the Guardian and the ABC says. They hate the Liberal Party.
Yes, but these people are in the party. These are the confidential people who stand up and say, Peter, you have to stand there in front of that Channel 9 reporter and you have to take your medicine. You can't speak up against it. You can't say all the things that James has been saying or Graeme's been saying or Dan's been saying.
Can we do some arithmetic, please? There's a constituency in Australia, and it's in America and it's England as well. You take all the workers in big business who are essentially conservative workers, all the workers in small business, add them in together, at 80% or probably 20% of teachers, 80%, 70, 60% of nurses. You've got a constituency of conservative thinking people, which is about 60% of the population. The workers have traditionally been the Labor Party, but they abandoned them 20 years ago. The Labor Party is the party of the people who look to the government for their living and for their succour.
And human rights barristers. It's a combination.
Well, there's not that many human rights.
No, but you know, that
voters,
ethos. That ethos.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a sufficient majority to win. You don't have to worry about the kombucha people. You let them go. There's no point spending any money in wealthy former blue ribbon seats to help convert Greens and Teals to Labor.
No, fully agree. But are they going to go? That's the question. This is why I'm saying you've got to split the party.
But you go to the Labor seats.
You can't not worry about them. They're in the party room, Graeme. They're there.
I
want to do something with them.
I want to win every seat in Australia. All right. I think you have to make a pitch for every seat in Australia. You can win a Melbourne seat. You can win a Brisbane seat, but it can't be the old formula. Okay.
Yeah.
It cannot be the old formula. And I think you need to. The kombucha set may have sound idea. on many things. For example, the nice little markets that I attend on a Sunday morning under, in the greenest booth in Australia, with a federal, state, and local member. They want to pay in cash. They're not huge fans of the COVID era stuff. They're small business people. They're crunchy conservatives in a sense, right? You can make a pitch to them. You may not be successful, but if you go to them and simply say, we need to rehash the Howard era, with all due respect or rehash the Tony Abbott era, you are not going to be successful because it demonstrates a lack of thinking about what their real conditions today.
I think you can get the message across. I think you can do messaging that appeals to all of them. I'm just saying you can't do the messaging and get it out there if you've got people inside the party saying, don't do that. Sorry.
Distinguish between Dan's point. It's all right to say you want to win every seat, but in a democracy, there's no country in the world where you can actually run a set of policies that tries to win every seat. Nobody tried to win California as a Republican for the last 30 years. And there's no Democrat who's down there really trying to win Texas, or let's say Utah. You have to structure your policies to get 60 to 65% of the population. The thing about Graeme's point about directly chosen leaders by the party base is organically it would take these people out. Because the party, they don't have enough votes.
That's my point.
And so you don't have to set out to get them. If you directly elect a leader, we would be the dominant party within 15 years.
They can have their own party. They can join the Teals, right? Or the Teals aren't a party.
The Teals will be destroyed as soon as we get rolling blackouts, which are coming.
The other side doesn't get more than $1 billion of taxpayers' money to bring you news from a centre-right perspective like the ABC does to bring you news from a left-wing perspective. In fact, we don't get a red cent from the government. We need voluntary donors and supporters like you to keep going and growing. And we hate asking for charity, so we've done a deal with what we think is the world's best VPN, virtual private network service. It'll keep you and your family truly safe without slowing down your internet speeds, and you can watch Netflix or other streaming services using your regular accounts with them as if you're viewing from any country in the world. And you can sign up for less than $3 a month and get a whopping 83% off the normal price. Just go to piavpn.com/otherside to sign up and get more info. That's piavpn.com/otherside. That was a segment from a recent episode of our fortnightly news commentary show, The Other Side, with me, Damian Curry. If you liked it, support us. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube right now so you don't miss a thing. It's totally free. Just click that subscribe button and the little bell. And check out our Other Side Unplugged show too, and join our mission to actually do something and change Aussie media for the better at othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Check it out now.